Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava Radhe, Jai Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava Radhe, Jaya Pancha Tattva, Jaya Pancha Tattva, Pancha Tattva, Jaya Pancha Tattva, Jaya Pancha Tattva, Pancha Tattva, Pancha Tattva, Jaya Pancha Tattva, Jaya Narasimha Dev, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Narasimha Dev, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jai Narasimha Dev, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Narasimha Dev, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha, Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra Devi, Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha, Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra Devi, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samved Bhagavatam. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 11, titled Perfect Society, the Perfect Society for Social Classes, verse 21 onward. Namo Dhammas. I will read verse 21. I thought we could, I can do verse 21 to verse 24, which are all giving the qualities of the four classes of people. I can read the Sanskrit of verse 21, right? If there is a possibility to share on screen, we can do that. Otherwise, I will repeat every line twice for the first time. So,
Krishna, you are co-host now, so you can share it.
is my screen visible, Mataji? Is my screen visible, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. We can see your name, H.
Samodamastapa Shaucham. Samodamastapa Shaucham. Santoshaha Antirarjavam. Santoshaha Antirarvajam. Jnanam Dayatmatvam. Jnanam Dayatmatvam. Satyam cha Brahma Lakshanam. Satyam cha Brahma Lakshanam. Samodamastapa Shaucham.
Samodam Aspata Sautam. The screen share नहीं कर सकते. शांति आचर.
Arjavam.
शांति. Sorry, Mataji.
Santosha Shantirarjavam
Santo Shanti Rajarvavam
Jnanam Daya Matvam
Jnanam Dayachutatmatvam
Satyam Cha Brahma Lakshanam
Satyam Cha Brahma Lakshanam
Samodamastapa Shaucham
Shamodamastapaha Saucham
Santosha Shantirarjavam
Santosha Kshantirajarvam
Jnanam Daya Matvam
Jnanam Dayachutatmatvam
Satyam Cha Brahma Lakshanam.
Satyam Cha Brahma Lakshanam
Sama, control of mind. Dama, control of senses. Tapaha, austerity and penance. Shaucham, cleanliness. Santoshaha, satisfaction. Shantihi, forgiveness, being unagitated by anger. Arjavam, simplicity. Jnanam, knowledge. Daya, mercy. Achyuta Atmatvam, accepting oneself as an eternal servant of the Lord. Satyam, truthfulness. Cha, also. Brahma Lakshanam, the symptoms of a Brahmana. Translation. The symptoms of a Brahmana are control of the mind, control of the senses, austerity and penance, cleanliness, satisfaction, forgiveness, simplicity, knowledge, mercy, truthfulness, and complete surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this institution of Varnashram Dharma, the symptoms of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasi are all described. The ultimate aim is Achyutat Matvam, to think always of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna or Vishnu. To make advancement in Krishna consciousness, one has to become a Brahmana with the above mentioned symptoms. To be influential in battle, unconquerable, patient, challenging, and charitable. To control the bodily necessities, to be forgiving, to be attached to the Brahminical nature, and to be always jolly and truthful. These are the symptoms of a Kshatriya. Being always devoted to the demigod, the spiritual master, and the Supreme Lord Vishnu. Endeavoring for advancement in religious principles, economic development, and sense gratification. Dharma, Artha, and Kama. Believing in the words of the spiritual master and scripture, and always endeavoring with expertise in earning money. These are the symptoms of the Vaishya. 7:11:24. Offering obeisance to the higher sections of the society, the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, being always very clean, being free from duplicity, serving one's master, performing sacrifices without uttering mantras, not stealing, always speaking the truth, and giving all protection to cows and Brahmanas. These are the symptoms of the Shudra. Purpose. It's everyone's experience that workers or servants are generally accustomed to stealing. A first-class servant is one who does not steal. Here it is recommended that a first-class Shudra must remain very clean, must not steal or speak lies, and must always render service to his master. A Shudra may attend sacrifices and Vedic ritualistic ceremonies along with his master, but he should not utter the mantras, for these may be uttered only by the members of the higher sections of the society. Unless one is completely pure and has been raised to the standard of a Brahmana, Kshatriya, or Vaishya, in other words, unless one is Dvija, twice born, the chanting of mantras will not be fruitful. So these are has it stopped sharing, Mataji?
Yeah, yes, Mataji, what you say? We can hear you.
Stop, no?
We can hear you, but we can't see you.
Is sharing stopped, Mataji?
No, you are still co-host, Mataji.
No, I wanted to stop sharing. So did I do it? That's what I'm trying to see.
Okay, it's okay, Mataji. We can do later also.
Okay. You can still see the Bhagavatam verses.
Not now. We are not seeing you. We
So
can
there are, yes, Mataji?
we can see you, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just stopped sharing of Bhagavatam verses.
Okay.
Because my camera either I can share or I can turn on the camera. No, only one only.
Okay.
So
Yeah. No worries, Mataji.
the 21, 22, 23, 24, they
Hmm.
are listing the qualities of the different classes. We saw the overview of this chapter, wherein Yudhishthir Maharaj is asking about a perfect society, structure of a perfect society, where a person as elevated and as pure as Prahalad Maharaj could appear. How can we have a society whereby we can have children as good as Prahalad Maharaj? And Narada Muni, yeah, he starts sharing knowledge about the society which is ideal for such people, where such ideal people are born, by quoting directly the teachings of Naranarayana, directly the words of Lord Narayana. And Narada Muni explains that the first step to having such a society is Garbhadan Samskara. And the second step is, of course, Diksha, seriously accepting spiritual life. So, Dvija, those who are born by proper Garbhadana Samskara, and those who are accepting spiritual master and taking spiritual life seriously, they are called twice born. So, when a society is filled with people who are twice born, then it is possible that they can establish basic human standards, which consist of 30 qualities meant for all human beings. And then the functions of the different groups are given. What are the functions? How do Brahmanas work in society? How do Kshatriyas work? How do Vaishyas work? How do Shudras work? The function of each group is given. And in case one group is not able to function in its recommended way, how else can it function? So the alternate options, plan B, when a society cannot function in a way it's supposed to function, what can they do as an alternative? What is the plan B for such a situation? That's also given. And then now we are looking at this section where we are looking at a list of qualities for each of these classes. So the main question, of course, as soon as we look up at a list of qualities, two things come to devotees' mind. One thing is, what am I supposed to do with the list? One thing you can do is compare yourself to see the list and say, oh, I have this quality, I don't have this quality. We try to put ourselves and see which class. Am I more Brahminical? Am I a Kshatriya type? Am I a Vaishya type? Am I a Shudra type person? We try to put ourselves and see where we belong most. Where do I have the most number of ticks? Accordingly, I might classify myself as one of these four types of people. And the second thing devotees often tend to do is pick others based on that. Oh, this person doesn't have, this person doesn't have this quality, or this person doesn't have that quality, so he is not Brahmanical. He is not, I do not see him being very simple, and I do not see him being very merciful or truthful. So maybe this devotee is not Brahmanical. So either we use that list of qualities to see where we belong, which group we belong, or we try to use it for understanding others. Often it comes out in quite a judgmental way. Even in Bhagavatam, I have seen that if you are not like this, if you are not forgiving, then you cannot be a Brahmana. If you are not truthful, you cannot be a Brahmana. So, like we, we try to box, we try to categorize people. So, and in reality, the purpose is not the, these qualities are not given uh, so that we can judge ourselves or judge others. These qualities are given simply so that one can understand um, how these classifications are brought about. It is not a whimsical classification. Krishna did not classify people into Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra in a whimsical way. There are certain qualities that each of these groups possess, and because of those qualities, they function in a particular way. For example, if we would look at a Kshatriya, he is supposed to be unconquerable. So naturally, that means he will have, when he is acting, he will, if that is the quality one inherits, then the action as per that quality is that he will never step back from fight, and he is very charitable. So when you give charity, you develop a sense of superiority. Like I am big, you're small, and that is something very typical of Kshatriya also. Even though they know that Brahmanas are higher than them in social order, they take great pride in giving charity to them, and they take great pride in for being in a position that they can protect the Brahminical culture. So and similarly Vaishyas, they say that the qualities that Vaishyas have, they have this expertise in business, and they are into dharma, artha, kama. They want those principles of religiosity. They follow it very. They endeavor for it. They are people who provide uh, money in the society. They are people who are bread makers, of breadwinners of the whole society. They do agriculture. It's because of them that crops grow. They take care of cows, so it's because of them that we get milk. And from milk and grains, you can get 1 million things that you can eat, you can sell, and you can exchange and barter, and like that, they they improve the overall economic status of the society. So these lists are given just to show that Krishna classified these people not whimsically, but based on particular qualities they have. And we as devotees, we do not have to endeavor either to develop any of these qualities in a special way, or more dangerously, we should not um, try to box other devotees, because what is observed in the case of devotees is they do not fit in any of these boxes. They do not belong to any one category of being a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or a Shudra. A devotee acts as a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or a Shudra, depending on what is the service required of him. So he may wake up and clean the toilet like a Shudra, clean the toilets and clean the bathroom floor and do the laundry and everything. And then he may take shower and he may go and worship the Lord on the altar like a Brahmana. Then he may pick up his bag, Sankirtan bag, and he can go and convince people and give books to them and collect Lakshmi and do book distribution like a Vaishya. And then he may defeat people and protect the interest of in ISKCON by arguing with atheists or Mayavadis. He may, in modern day Kshatriya, not necessarily they take up sword and fight, but that sense of wanting to protect is very, it is very strong. So, during a Bhagavatam class, a Bhagavad Gita class, he may present points to defeat wrong ideas and propagate Krishna consciousness and protect the interest of devotees. So, a devotee is not to be boxed in any of these groups because they act as needed in particular time, place, and circumstance. So sometimes a devotee may appear like he is a business class of man. Sometimes he may appear like more like a Kshatriya type of person. But we should know that if we are practicing Krishna consciousness in the absolute sense of the word, we will be jumping between these boxes. We will never be able to sit in one box. So we do not have to make any endeavor to particularly develop any of these qualities or try to identify ourselves in any one of these groups. Of course, it is natural that we will have, if we would check these, different boxes, if we would see where we get most number of ticks, it is natural that we may fit mostly into one kind of person, like somebody is very good in business and is into cow protection and he is very expert in generating money and you give him one restaurant, he opens many branches out of it. And so yeah, if he were to tick, he probably would have a lot of ticks inside that Vaishya category. But we should know that we do not identify, devotees are not to be identified only as the Brahmana. There is nothing like Brahmana Vaishnava or a Kshatriya Vaishnava. A Vaishnava is a Vaishnava. And he may have some proclivity, some kind of inclination from his before life that may make him expert in doing some kind of activities. And Prabhupada is expert. He would just utilize that inclination in the service of the Lord. That means he will pull them out of the box by simply engaging those inclinations in the service of the Lord. So there are people who are expert artists, and Srila Prabhupada made them draw pictures for BBT publications, Bhagavatam, many beautiful, very informative pictures we have. And there are people who are very scholarly, learned in English and languages, other languages. Prabhupada would make them edit his books, make them translate his books. And there are people who are expert in marketing, so he would get them to negotiate for printing books. And for people who are diplomatic, he would utilize their skills in getting visas for devotees and things like that. He never is there a situation where there is some kind of person who came to Prabhupada and he just remained that kind of person. Like somebody came to Prabhupada as a person who has Kshatriya nature, he would never remain as a Kshatriya. Prabhupada will promote him immediately to be a Vaishnava. Somebody might have come to Prabhupada as a Vaishya, somebody who's a very good businessman or whatever. singer, dancer, all these are Vaishya class. And Prabhupada would never just keep them as Vaishyas. He will immediately promote them to be servants of Krishna, because the true purpose of Varnashram was understood by Srila Prabhupada. The true purpose of Varnashram is not to divide people into many boxes. In fact, the true purpose of Varnashram is to remove those boxes and put all of them in one category, which is being the servant of the Lord. And then, after you identify yourself as servant of the Lord, of course, you can then further see, which way can I serve the Lord best. I can serve the Lord best by being a teacher. Okay, you have some inclination as a Brahmana. I can serve the Lord best by doing some business. Okay, you are a servant of the Lord, but you have some Vaishya propensity. And I don't know actually how I can serve. So whatever people tell me, I will very sincerely follow their orders, and I will try my best to fulfill it. Okay, you can serve in the capacity of Shudra, but they are not Vaishyas or Shudras or Brahmanas or Kshatriyas. They are Vaishnavas. In whatever capacity they may function, they are Vaishnavas. And what is speciality of Vaishnavas is that they can jump out of boxes in any given time. By the mercy of the spiritual master, we may be thinking this person is businessman, this, that, but we will be surprised when one day he just comes and he gives like a very nice Bhagvatam class, and or if we see his personal habits of being very like cleanliness and austerity and truthfulness, and how much he is forgiving, we may be surprised that he has other qualities of the other classes also, and that happens only with devotees. The devotees can jump from this box to that box to this, as needed for service. We do not jump like randomly to experiment, but we move between different classes as the service may require. And it is okay that sometimes we may see ourselves checked, having a lot of ticks, and seeing ourselves having some particular characteristics, either as a Kshatriya or as a, it is okay. But we should, and it is normal that we might see these qualities in ourselves, like I'm mostly, reading this list, I might be maybe like a Brahmana kind of person, Kshatriya kind of person, but we should not think we are Brahmanas. We should always think we are Vaishnavas, because when we think we are Brahmanas, we are not going to be able to jump into other boxes. But when we know that we are Vaishnavas and we are serving Srila Prabhupada and our spiritual master, then by their mercy, by their blessings, we get the power to do what is needed at the hour. As needed, we may act. We have many instances where devotees have acted in ways that are not expected of them. That they might act. There is the story of Alvar. I'm just looking up at the. I'm just getting his. Tirumangai Alvar. Yeah. I seem to have lost that reference. There is this story of this Alvar, a great devotee of the Lord, who wanted to Srirangam temple was already there, and around the temple, it's traditional that around the temple we will have gates, many gates. People cannot enter the temple like right away. It's not like you walk in and you see the deities. You have to go through many gates, and there is some symbolism to it. Like you cross the material world, cross the boundary between the material and spiritual world, and then you cross the Vaikuntha ladder. There is some, each crossing each door has some particular meaning. So traditional Hindu temples, they have many layers, many walls around the temple, and four entrances in four directions. And when you come inside, you have to meditate. I'm going closer to the Lord by crossing this barrier. I'm closer to the Lord by crossing that barrier. That and and there was this Alvar. If I'm not wrong, his name is Tirumangai Alvar, and what he did was that he wanted to build those walls, and he actually he went on a pillage to collect money, and even he stole the funds from the king's treasury to build. And then the last bit of the wall was remaining. Some last bit of the wall was to be finished, and he was desperately looking for funds. And at that time, Lord Ranganath himself came in a marriage procession, with the Lakshmi Devi. And he stopped that is how he was actually collecting funds. He would stop rich people and he will take money from them and he will use it for the construction. So when that very opulent marriage procession came, of course, he did not know that it was Lord Ranganath. He saw some very rich man, and he blocked, and he wanted to loot all the riches from the Lord so that he can build the temple for the Lord, and he is glorified for that. That, in his service, he left the touring in the Lord's feet and the Mangal Sutra in Lakshmi's neck. And he said, apart from these two, every single thing you have to give. And then when the groom asked, why are you stealing this? Why do you do that? And then he said, I am doing it for the service of the Lord. And by if I would come and ask you for charity, you're not going to give. So I'm going to take it from you. And I'm going to give you the blessings of the Lord, of having utilized your money in the Lord's service. You will get the blessings. So I'm going to give you, even though you don't want it, I'm giving you that blessing. So like that, we can see that devotees sometimes act in ways that are that look very odd, that doesn't fit, like, this doesn't befit a person who can be called a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or a Shudra. Just pillaging is like a militia culture. So it is not that now we have to follow like that and we have to start looting and we have to start lying. But what I'm trying to say is, devotees, because of the intense love they have for the Lord, and because of the intense desire they have for spreading the mission of Krishna conscious, sometimes they do things that don't fit into any of these varnashrama boxes. And that is the special empowerment one gets by the blessings of one's spiritual master and the Lord himself. And ISKCON devotees also, if I would invite, I'm sure so many devotees will share so many pastimes of Srila Prabhupada's disciples smuggling books into Russia, preaching in China, preaching in Middle East countries, preaching in like places which people don't even want to visit, like forsaken places. Like recently I was sitting and doing some jewelry with some devotees, and one devotee came from Mongolia,
And she was explaining how there are so many centers in Mongolia. And then I said, basically that means like probably they're attracting the Indian or the Hindu crowd of Mongolia. I said, no, these are all native Mongolians, and there's so many tiny centers all around the place. And it was very interesting for me to hear that somebody chose to go and preach in a place like Mongolia, and this preaching has spread so wide that all over the country there are so many small centers, and the local crowd, not like the Hindu crowd or the Indian crowd who knows who is Krishna like that, but the local crowd are attracted to the philosophy of Krishna conscious. So that kind of empowerment uh, comes to a devotee when he has this very intense desire to spread the message of Krishna, to glorify the Lord. Then the power he or she is given is incomparable to what somebody can do sitting in any of these varna ashramas. It is for a sannyasi, for example, is not allowed to go across ocean. If your sannyas bang, your sannyas will be, your sannyas vow is considered broken if you cross the ocean. And Srila Prabhupada crossed it, and crossed it with 2 heart attacks. And it is against sannyas rules to partake in weddings. And Srila Prabhupada not only partook in weddings, like going and giving blessing, but he actually organized his early disciples. When they came, hippies, they were all like Mukunda, Janaki, all these devotees. They were all like living together like girlfriend and boyfriend. So Srila Prabhupada actually organized for these people to get married. He personally made the preparations in their cooking, invited families, and so these are all things that are, and to have a brahmacharini ashram, this is something that is never heard of in any time in history, that there was a spiritual leader who set up an ashram for a bunch of young girls, unmarried girls, to come and stay. So that is unheard of. Brahmachari ashram exists, monks in all religions, Christians, monks are there, and even Buddhist monks, they all have that kind of system. But Vaishnavas never have that system that a unmarried girl could stay in ashram. Unmarried girls should stay in home, and when they marry, they go to their husband's house. That is Vedic. But Srila Prabhupada organized Brahmacharini ashram, where young unmarried girls could come and stay. And when asked, Srila Prabhupada said, if I let them be in the outside world, they will be exploited. They will be left in an unprotected state. So if I organize this ashram and if I keep them, then I am protecting their chastity. I am protecting their Krishna consciousness by taking them away from all kind of disturbances. So when somebody has that very deep-rooted desire to serve Krishna in whatever way possible, then they truly become beyond any varna and ashrama. And they can do things that nobody in any varna or ashrama can ever imagine of doing. And a typical example, of course, this Srila Prabhupada, and many devotees, they have followed in footsteps of Srila Prabhupada, and they have smuggled books into countries where preaching is prohibited. They have been jailed, and they use their bread, to make beads and chant and remain fixed in Krishna consciousness. They have been beaten and tortured and tried, and they were tried to, the efforts were made to brainwash them. But all of that, which will generally work to break any of the varnas and ashramas, nothing worked. On devotees, none of that worked. We have the story of Haridas Thakur, the pastime of Haridas Thakur, how Ramachandra Khan sent that prostitute, Hira Bai, and Haridas Thakur never rejected her. He said, "Very good, yes, you have come here to enjoy your senses with me. I am more than happy to satisfy your senses. Just to stay here, because I have taken a vow to finish a few number of rounds. So let me just finish it, and I will fulfill your desires." So every single opportunity they get to preach to every single person, how much ever weird that person may be, how much ever twisted psychotype they are, devotees never give up that chance. And because of that sincere desire they have, Krishna gives them the power to go beyond any varna and ashram and accomplish. Haridas Thakur is not belonging to any of those categories, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya. If you technically try to place him in one of the boxes, he would fall outside all the four boxes. He would go into the Milacha, that kind of, Yavanas, Milechas, he will go into that category. But even people who don't fall into such boxes, because of the deep love for the Lord and the desire to spread his message, they are empowered in such a way that somebody like a paid prostitute who came with the intention of putting down Haridas Thakur by making him fall down on purpose. She, with his association, after 3 days, she gave up. She confessed to Haridas Thakur, explained what was the reason why she came to him, confessed the truth, begged for forgiveness, and accepted him as spiritual master, and followed his footsteps, and chanted near Tulasi plant, always chanting. So that kind of purity, he was able to give to her, not because he was a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra, but because he was a Vaishnava. So in conclusion, wrapping up, a summary of today's session is, we saw the qualities that are characteristics of the four classes: Brahmana, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. And the list of qualities are given not because we need to identify ourselves as one of these classes, or to judge others, who they are, which class they belong to. That is not the purpose. The purpose is for us to understand that there is a plan behind the division of the society. The society is not divided randomly or whimsically, because that would cause chaos. In India, there was a point of time where caste system became based on birth. I mean, it's pretty much the same. The idea is pretty much the same even today, but the caste system as such is not a very prominent thing in India, like how it used to be 500 years ago. So when people think caste is made by birth, then that creates chaos in society. When people who are not qualified to be in a particular group call themselves to belong to that group, they can create great confusion. So this list is given so that we have a clear guidance on how people are classified as Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. And we just have to know that it is done by plan, and it's not by birth, or not by some whimsical order of some person's will. And we should know that Vaishnavas are beyond these four classes, four social classes, and four varnas and four ashramas. They're beyond these four classes, and as needed and as empowered by the spiritual master and the Lord, they can act in any of the capacities, or sometimes act in a way which doesn't fit in any of these boxes. They can act like a thief or a rogue, or like that, and people who are not even in this box also, they can become higher than Brahmana, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas when they take shelter of the Lord, like Haridas Thakur. Even though he doesn't belong to technically speaking, he doesn't belong to the Varnashrama society, he was able to act way above these four classes of men by showing his extreme compassion towards people like the prostitute and the people who wanted to beat him up in the marketplace. Uh, they were all begging, we have already taken you to 21 marketplaces and we have beaten you up. Now, if you don't die, then we will be killed. Our Muslim king is going to kill. So Haridas Thakur died. And they said, wow, we have beaten him up. He was dead. And they took their dead body and they threw the dead body in the river. And then after some time down the stream, Haridas Thakur revived himself, just to show them that compassion. So like that, they can act above. A Vaishnava can act above these four boxes. And sometimes we may tick ourselves into any one of these boxes, which is okay, but we should never identify ourselves just as that one box, because our devotee, if we are surrendered, have the power to act as needed in any capacity. So that is the summary of the points from this lesson. Thank you very much. If there are any comments or questions.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mataji. Excellent. Last time and this time, both times
May I
you
request you
gave
to
a lot of
speak little
nectar.
more loudly, Prabhu, Vinod Prabhu?
Yeah. I'll try. So both times, last time and this time, you gave a lot of nectar. A lot of good knowledge. Very nice telling about Haridas Thakur. So many qualities. I knew few of them, but this time you told me many more. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yes, Prabhu, please tell. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Good. This time you told us many more. I did not know that Haridas Thakur was beaten in the market so many times and his body was thrown in the river and then he revived. That's a very, very interesting story, very history, actually. Not the story, it's history. Thank you again, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam. Thank you so much for this nectar class. And again this week also, you explained so nicely about the four Varnashrama, their duties and qualities. So thank you, Mataji. I don't have any question. But, I request devotees, if you have any question, please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Nobody has any question or comment? Yeah. We can end up the call here. Vancha kalpatarvasya kripa sindhu vacha Pranam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki. Bharata Prabhu, you have something to say? Sorry, I interrupted.
No, I joined a little late. It was nice to pick up on how Prabhupada has mercy. Prabhupada breaks rules, the smarter rules to spread the mercy of the Lord to the Lecha Yavanas. Otherwise, the Mahaprabhu's mercy would have reached them. That Mongolia anecdote was also so encouraging. Yeah, they are Khasa tribes. Yeah, so there's a verse there. It says, Kirata Hunandra Pulinda Pulkasa Khasa. At the end, there's a Khasa. For China, Mongolia, Siberia, these are Khasa tribes. So they're also getting delivered. Yeah, yeah, Mataji, please bless us with your association more and more.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarasya कृपा सिंधुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। नमाचार्य श्रीदास ठाकुर की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। हरग्रेस हेमांगी गोपी माता जी की जय। थैंक यू सो मच माता जी। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna,
धन्यवाद
Hare
प्रणाम।
Krishna, Hari Bol.
हरि बोल। धन्यवाद प्रणाम।
Thank you. Hare Krishna.